Matulah shashurah pautrah Syalah sambandhinastadha Yetannahamtumichhami Gnatopi madhusudana.
Mother's brother, brother-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other kith and kin, blood relations and relatives and friends and family. These I would not consent to slay. O Madhusudana, O Krishna, though myself I accept to be slain, though myself I slain. This is such a deep and noble emotion that I will not consent to slay my near and dear ones. Now you may think to yourself, yes, what's the big deal? Even you and I will not kill our family members. But it's not just about the physical act of killing. Any act of verbal violence, energetic violence, emotional violence is also a form of violence. And Arjuna is so deeply pure that he absolutely refuses to violate the others. He says, I'll kill myself, but I'll not violate the others. And yet, there is a purity, there is a dharma which is higher than that. Now you may ask, what dharma can be higher than that? Isn't one being so deeply selfless? And one is saying that I will not do a single act of violence against you. I'm ready to give my own life. But love is not about serving the egos of the other. That which Arjuna is refusing to slay is a representative of the ego and the reign of the ego and its arrogance and ahamkara on the entire nation. If out of sentimentality Arjuna kills himself, the human soul of action, what will happen? The asura, the ego, the evil, that which is concentrated on I, me, myself, power for power's sake, that would have ruled the nation. So he is called to kill, but called to kill so that the dharma can rule, so that the rule of the nation on the basis of dharma, truth, welfare for all, benefit of all, that is the rule that establishes. And it is for this reason there is the hand of the Krishna, there is the hand of the blessed Lord behind the Pandavas in the war. It is not because the Pandavas are more dearer to Krishna. Krishna is the Lord for whom all his children are beautiful and dear. But each is playing a part in the Leela, the divine Leela of divine manifestation. And in this Leela, if the Pandavas win, there is the reign of the truth, the reign of the dharma, an authority that is not seeking power for one's own aggrandizement. It is that Krishna is supporting, and it is that which is the higher dharma that Arjuna must realize. So, ordinarily speaking, even to reach the rock bottom of Arjuna is difficult. Because ordinarily speaking, no matter how we present ourselves, Ordinarily speaking, I place I, me, my individual little ego above everybody else, including the family. I must not be violated, and I'm happy to violate your boundaries. I'm happy to inflict energetic, emotional, verbal violence on you. I must not be violated, even with our near and dear ones. And then one grows through that space where one doesn't want to harm or inflict violence on anybody. And like Arjuna, I'm happy to slay myself, but these I don't want to kill. That's a higher dharma than saying, I, me, myself, and I kill the others. But then there is a higher dharma where you're called to stand up for truth and dharma, even as it may be against one's own near and dear ones with whom we've cultivated attachment and affection. Because the dharma for which one is standing for, it is not for oneself. This is not an ordinary battle that we are talking about. It is not a battle which Arjuna is partaking in for the sake of the Pandavas' egos. It is because if one lets loose and allows the Kauravas to win, who are anyway focused on their I, me, myself, and their aggrandizement, their ego, the entire nation would be led to ruins. You allow the asura to get power. So it's a war where the power has to be snatched from the hands of the asuras and brought back at the feet of the divine. Arjuna is not fighting for power for one's own sake. It is to bring back power for dharma, for the divine, for the collective welfare for all. And thus, what may seem like a noble thing to say that I will slay myself but I will not kill, actually is born out of a certain weakness, a certain fear, a certain sentimentality, not the great and wide compassion, but a certain sentimentality. In our own lives as seekers, if we can learn to discern what is an ordinary battle versus what is a dharmic battle, if we can learn, despite our attachments and our clingings to our senses and pleasures, to our people and family, our own ego, our own family ego, to be able to discern these things from what is the true, noble, dharmic, pure, higher thing to do, which is in the benefit of all, which would make the divine reign and establish here on earth. If we can learn to make these discernments in our everyday life, life will become much, much simpler. Because human mind very easily fools oneself. It confuses heart's sentimental attachment. Love and compassion is not heart's hunger for affection and making a god out of one's beloved's ego. That's not love. Love is the profound vibration that has created all creation. And whatever will be the action born out of love will not just be in my benefit or the benefit of my people, but it will be in the benefit of the whole, of the totality, of the divine reign of wisdom, power, beauty, and truth and love on earth. If Arjuna at this juncture gets into protecting his loved ones and slays himself, what a disaster it would be for the entire nation and for generations to come. And that is the Dharma Sankat he's caught into. And he's caught into that Dharma Sankat only because he's striving for something higher. He aspires to live by the truth, which is why his conflict also, the rock bottom of his conflict, is to give his own life in order to protect his near and dear ones. This itself, what is Arjuna's rock bottom, will be a very high ideal for many of us who are living an ordinary life. Even to arrive at Arjuna's rock bottom is a work. But Arjuna's rock bottom is not the ultimate or the end of the journey. A higher dharma is to stand for the truth. And it's not like always the truth and the dharma will ask you to be at war and to slay. But when it does, you do what needs to be done. It is also a mistake to justify all kinds of fighting instincts of man in the name of the Bhagavatam, in the name of the Gita, in the name of Sri Krishna and Arjuna. Look, Krishna told Arjuna to fight, that is why I'm fighting. Like the mother, Sri Aurobindo's spiritual collaborator in one of Auroville's key documents says that in this place in Auroville, all of the fighting instincts of man would be used to surmount one's own weaknesses and limitations. And like Sri Aurobindo writes, that the world of the future will not have war. Ultimately, there will be no war. But for us to arrive at that point where there is no physical outer war, one has to win over the evil within. And that is the aim of the yuga that we are a part of. In the Satya Yuga, it was the battle between the Devlok and the Asura Lok. In the Treta Yuga, it was the battle between Ram and Ravana from two different kingdoms. In the Dwapar Yuga, this fight between the good and evil is taking place in one family itself. And then you see, in the Kali Yuga, the fight between the good and the evil is taking place on the inside. So, in many ways, as a seeker starts walking on the path, you will be confronted with your heart's sentimental attachment to the past. And for you to leap into the future, the divine future, the new creation, many times you will have to let go of the past attachments and bondages. And nostalgia will come, sentimentality will come, and it will try to stop you. But to stand grounded and affirmed in one's highest aspiration, to live for the divine and only for the divine, to consecrate and give one's life to the higher purpose, that is dharma. And that needs to be followed. So, as a seeker, tell us in the comments below, what is a sentimental attachment that you had to confront on the path? For me, to give you an example, when I started walking this path, at some point I was beginning to get an inkling that I will not be living an ordinary life, that I will not be a bahu in a family, that I may not bear children. And at that time, I had one of the best person that I could have been with, somebody who deeply, truly loved me. But I knew for that person, getting a bahu in his family, having children is important. And letting go of that relationship, even though he truly was the best person to love me, was a certain choice I had to make. And it has turned out in the absolute best interest of him and of mine. But it was a difficult choice. Everybody said that, you are being mad to let go of a person like him, who completely adores you, who completely loves you. But I knew that my journey is not about serving primarily the family, either mine or somebody else's. Yes, family is important, and that's a responsibility that one is happy to take. But I knew I did not want to take responsibility for another family and then to make another family by birthing a child, because I wanted to conserve my time and energy so that the most amount of my time and energy I can give at the service of whatever I am feeling and conceiving of as the divine's work. Of course, family is also and can be also the divine's work. But I felt, for me, I needed to serve the divine's work more directly. And letting go of that, even though there was heart sentimental attachment there. That is how practically we can learn from the wisdom of the Gita and apply it in our lives. So I want you to share, as a seeker, as you began your journey and as you are beginning your journey, what is the sentimental pull? And how are you growing over that sentimental pull? And how do you make sure that you're growing over that sentimental pull out of a sense of a higher dharma and responsibility, and not growing over that sentimental pull and attachment of ties and bonds just for the sake of a lower animalistic freedom? That's another discernment one has to really make. Yes, one has to grow over. Like Arjuna had to grow over his sentimental attachment to family and relatives and near and dear ones for the sake of something higher. But if he was doing the same thing for his own ego, that will not be the right thing to do at all. So how do you make sure that you are following a higher dharma? So I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below about your inner conflict with sentimental attachments and how you are growing through them on the path of seeking on your spiritual journey. I hope you found the video to be useful. If you would like to continue your journey with us, if you would like to help us support you in your journey, click on the link below and join us for a 2.5-hour signature masterclass called the Awakening Karma Yogi Workshop, where we run you through the fundamental stages of awakening to become a Karma Yogi, to be peaceful inside and successful outside. We talk about Swabhava, our true nature, and Swadharma, our soul's purpose, which are the building blocks of a life affirming, not a life negating spirituality. So if you found this video to be useful, click on the link below and I shall see you at the workshop.